Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Training Tuesday. Hope you're all doing great. Just a couple of items to go over before we get to it. This meeting, as you've heard, is being recorded, and we'll place it out on the YouTube channels for Dayton Superior, as well as DaytonSuperior.com. Just search on Training Tuesdays, and you can find this one, as well as all of the other ones that we've done. This will make the 53rd one that we've done. Isn't that right, Chuck?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm Heidi Reese, and as you hear, I'm sitting here with Chuck Hoke. We are both in the training department here at Dayton Superior and Simons, and today is next to the last one for the bridge deck, and we'll be going over interior bridge deck today. So just a couple of things. Everybody who has joined the call has been muted, but please don't let that stop you from asking any questions during, throughout, whatever, through the chat functionality in Zoom, and we can go ahead and answer those at the end of the presentation. So this presentation is intended for training purposes only. If you find anything in here and you need technical specifications or documents of the products that are mentioned, please refer to www.daytonsuperior.com and you can find everything out there. All right, then, like I said, we're going to be talking about the interior bridge deck. But first, let's go over who is Dayton Superior. We are the leading provider of engineered solutions for the concrete construction industry. Not only do we specialize in accessories, chemicals, forming, engineering, and of course, training, we do a breadth of products, and we are a one-stop shop for you. We have chemical solutions that are specifically formulated to meet the design specifications in both new construction as well as the retrofit and repair needs. Simons Forming and Shoring is adaptable and strong and saves labor. And we have the largest, most experienced engineering and sales team in the industry and offer 24-hour ordering and account information. There's much more we can talk about for who Dayton Superior is. Just want to let you know that not only interior bridge decks, but we can help you provide solutions for all of the areas that you handle. Okay, in today's topic, we've got Chuck Hoke again here with us, and he is our bridge deck expert, along with expert, for everything just about, but specifically for bridge deck this month. He's got 49 years in the construction industry, 20 of those as a dealer for accessories, forming, and chemical products. So he knows his stuff. 29 of those have been here with Dayton Superior, doing many different project roles, liaison, mentorship, all kinds of things. Right now, he is the National Training Manager. So he goes around. In fact, after this, he's going to get on a flight and head on out, and I probably won't see him again for a month. Well, until next Tuesday, anyway. Next Tuesday. I always get him on Tuesdays. Okay, so he will share his knowledge on the interior bridge decks. I'm not going to say any more because you know that Chuck is awesome, so take it away, Chuck.
All right, well, thank you, Heidi. And good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to talk about exterior bridge deck forming. I'm sorry, interior bridge deck forming. Last week we talked about exterior bridge deck forming. And then next week what we will be referring to as how to put all that together in a quotation form and to actually look at it as part of your, what actually associates with your job. So estimating a bridge deck, we saw the slide last week. We always start out with plans and putting quotes together and everything. So when we're talking bridge deck, we have to deal with the exterior and then the interior. Now, the interior in a lot of states has been taken care of by either concrete plank or SIP decking. So this method of forming for interior bridge deck forming is, I'm going to say, kind of taking a back seat. It's basically the third favorite option of most states now, because primarily the expense associated with it. The one thing that exterior or interior bridge deck forming does give you is it does allow you to inspect the bridge deck in its entirety from the ground up and not have anything interfere with that concrete plank or SIP decking, etc. So we're seeing some states actually come back to this form method because of that fact. So, well, what do we actually have to have for
Yeah.
estimate.
Yes, we do.
So we have pages and pages of
I don't know.
plans.
Hold on.
If you
okay.
could mute,
Hold on. Let me,
if you could mute your phones, I'm hearing some feedback.
we have to stop this blasted meeting here. And see if they have it there. And I will tell you that I looked at the SDS. It is definitely not, nothing you can, yeah. Let's see. Swell stop, they have 3,000 feet, so that's great. Wood primer, sorry. They have 5 of them. Yeah, we could do that. Okay. 4 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. In that world, it's not a big deal. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Shoot. Okay. Throw me that credit card information.
Before you do, Becca, you're not on mute.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm really sorry. I was close.
There you go.
There you go. No, I'm sorry about that. They want me to do things and you either have to talk to customers or what. Okay. So I'm just going to do it. Okay.
So with a typical deck section view here, which is commonplace in the industry, this basically gives you a cross section of the finished deck system. So you can basically see the deck in its entirety, basically looking straight into it. What this also gives you is you also need a framing plan, which will basically give you the length of the deck, and then we're going to use that later on as to why we have to have that. But it'll also give you the center-to-center spans on the girders involved here. So that it'll, like I said, it'll give us the overall length and actually the detail of the girder, what we're looking at on the framing plan. Now going back here, once again, if this is a steel deck, we will actually have to go back and look at whether or not what type of steel beam we have. Concrete beam will be detailed as the concrete precast girder. For a section view, your deck spacing will also be limited right on, will be put right on the drawing for your section view. You'll also get your deck thickness on this drawing, along with your deck thickness over the beam, which will then give you the haunch that you've got to actually maintain. And that haunch actually is going to help maintain the deck thickness across the deck when you pour the concrete. Because when you pour a bridge deck, if you set all your formwork at the same elevation, you'd end up at very thick portion of the deck at the beginning and in the middle over the piers, where the beam would actually curve into it or have a camber into the bridge. And once it starts to load up with concrete, that camber starts to settle out. So you want to actually maintain a consistent deck thickness throughout the bridge deck. So that's why we have a haunch built into the calculations. It'll also give us the parapet information that we're going to need. It'll also give us the overhang details for every overhang, basically the distance from the center line of the girder to the outside edge. It'll also give you the deck thickness at the outside edge, because that's going to be a little bit different than the interior deck spacing, as we talked about in the past exterior bridge deck forming. You're obviously going to have the bridge deck width, which will actually be placed the number of the out-to-out on the upside of the on the top side of this drawing. And you're going to have all of your deck thicknesses over the beam, over the haunch, and everything else that we talked about, why that is going to come into play. What this is also going to give us too is our rebar size, top bar clearance, and all the other information that we had. So these details of slides actually are very similar to what we had talked about back in the first presentation, which we needed this information to do a bar support takeoff. Well, a lot of this information in next week's class will all come into highlight as to how we would actually develop all of this information and put it into a quotation form. So you're going to have all your rebar sizes all posted in size here. Your bottom bar clearance, and that will be from bottom bar clearance will be from the bottom of the concrete or bottom of the rebar to the bottom of the concrete deck. If you are using a concrete plank, it'll be from the top of the concrete plank to the bottom of the rebar. So we have center to center spans. This comes in extremely important now, because we're looking at having to develop what kind of forming system are we going to use that's going to basically be able to span from center of beam to center of beam. So here the girder spacing is 9 foot 8 inches. In this example here that we've actually got here, the top beam flanges alternate between 14 and 22. We're going to concentrate on the 14-inch side because that's the worst case scenario. The 22-inch means that there's less concrete that needs to be supported by the formwork. It's going to be more of that bridge deck will be supported by that 22-inch wide beam flange. So the clear span, center span is 9 foot 8 inches minus the 1 foot 2, which is the 14 inches. What we've done is we took 7 inches from each side, which is the center line of the girder, to the outside of the beam flange. So, and then added those two together to get that 1 foot 2 inches, or 14 inches. So we have a clear span of 8 foot 6 inches, or 102 inches of clear span, for example. And the bridge deck, as we know from looking at our plans, is 10 inches thick. So we then look at a table. Now, one thing Dayton Superior has prided itself on over the years is our outstanding literature. Our literature is second to none. It's been around, and the tables are thorough and complete. You get a lot of information on just the first 10 pages of every handbook that you look at on Dayton from Dayton Superior. So from here, we're going to start looking at where we're going to have, what we're going to have for a joist. Now, we're saying we're going to have a 10-inch deck, and I'm going to use 3/4 inch plywood, typically. So typically what I'm going to have here, and I'm going to look at what my spacing of my joists can be. So we have roughly 183.3 pounds per square foot for horizontal line interact with the 3/4 inch forming line. So right here, we're going to come up to a 12-inch spacing. And typically when we run a 12-inch spacing, you're looking at one of the more common spacings in the industry. The industry typically has set up, you've got centers on, you can have a 96-inch center, but your plywood will probably warp real bad. 48, same thing, you're going to get a warpage. You will see in the industry there are standards that they typically go. Typically, the most common ones you'll see are 12-inch, 16-inch, and 24-inch. So from here, we look at what we typically would see. 12-inch being that that's one of the more common versions or spacings. You're going to see that is, and we came up with 12-inch on our 2x4 center to center for our joist. So that would be the spacing that we will run with. So here, if we have an 8-foot center to center span, you're going to basically take that, you know what your beam flanges are 18 inches wide, so this would be, you're going to take the 8-foot minus the 18-inch and get up 6-foot 6-inch clear span. This is just another example of how you would actually do the clear span. So here we get an 18-inch, we've taken half that dimension, and we end up to get the 8-foot center to center, subtract the 18 inches from the 8-foot, and we get the 6-foot 6 inches. So we're going to decide the joist sizes that we have to have now. The joist size typically states whether we're going to use plywood or everything else here. And we have basically joist size spacing charts here at 10 inches and 3/4 inch plywood. For a joist size, about 15 inches is the maximum we can use. So we come up with this joist size spacing, and we're spacing them at 12 inches on center. So at 12 inches on center, we can space 2x4 joists. We can go roughly 48 inches center to center. The spacing instead, you could go 51 or 69, but typically you're going to want to stay within a 4-foot center of this. Once you start going past 4-foot spacing, you have to worry about your wood deflecting. And if you get a wood deflecting of more than 1/4 inch in deflection, they can actually reject your concrete deck. So typically you're going to run your spacing here at 48 inches because that's the maximum. And then we're going to figure out what size ledgers we got to have. Now we figured out our joists are going to be 12 inches on center. We can go a maximum, we could go 61 inches or 51 inches or 69 inches or 51 inches, or we can go 48. 48 works really well because that's kind of where we're looking at our magic numbers, 4 foot. So, but what we have to figure now is what our ledger spacing is going to be on the inch that's going to run from it's going to basically cover the clear span. Your hangers are going to go across the top of the beam flange and hang down with coil rod. And they are going to sit on, your ledger is going to sit on that coil rod. The coil rod will have a washer plate and a nut on the bottom for adjustment, so you can, and support. But typically your ledger will be a double 2x. And that could be a 2x8, 2x10, 2x12, etc. To construct this product here, what you typically have to do is you will take a 2x material, let's say in this case, a 2x12, and we're going to take scrap pieces of 3/4 inch plywood and put it in between the 2 layers of 2x12. This will give you a 2x12, a 3/4 inch pocket in between, and then another 2x12 on top of it. You're going to nail all this together so you've got one cohesive unit. This piece there is going to straddle the coil rod, which is going to run down through the center of it to be supported. So typically what we're looking at though is what kind of span how long can that 2x be put in place. supported only on the ends without having too much deflection. Well, we've taken care of that in our handbook. We've actually incorporated that with the ledger size. And this is all in the beginning of the handbook. So typically what you're going to do is you're going to look at the chart. Go from your center to center. You've got here, if you want 183.3 pounds per square foot, that is a 10-inch deck. And we're looking at roughly 4 foot on centers because that's the maximum spacing we can go with our joists. You're going to end up with a clear span of 6 foot 6 inches divided by 2. That's going to give you a grand total of 2,383 pounds per side per hanger. Okay? So where we came up with that number is we have 6 foot 6 inches, which is our clear span, divided by 2 equals that 2383. Now, if we go 5 foot 4, which is another common denominator for a lot of bridge deck forming, 5 foot 4 inch spacing on this, we're going to end up with 3,175 pounds. Now, what hanger would I use to accommodate those weight calculations? So in the first case, you've got 2,383 pounds, and you have a haunch that is either type, 1, 2, or 3 inch type haunch. So you would have either a type 2, type 3, or type 7 hanger. But the problem is that 2383 requires a hanger at 3 foot 3 inches, not 4 foot. So a C60 hanger may not be your best application if you wanted to try to maximize your hardware. So typically what you would do at this point is you would look at what hanger would help you maximize the spacing. So to get a 4 foot spacing, you can go to a C41 hanger, which is a coil rod hanger. Has 4,500 pounds per side. The one nice thing about the coil rod hanger is it does not require a haunch, built-in haunch. You can actually build the haunch as you go along in your deck off of that hanger. So the hanger is fully, I won't say fully adjustable, but your formwork capabilities with this system are much better. The drawbacks to this hanger are everything is done from the bottom side of the hanger instead of up on top of the bridge deck. So it makes assembly an adjustment a little bit more difficult at times. At this point, you should be able to talk to your Dayton Superior representative, and he should be able to walk you through how you can make this a much easier system to actually adjust from the underneath. And you can do that all from the top of the bridge deck. So with a 3175 and a spacing at 6 foot on center, I can now space at 4 foot, know that my hanger is going to be basically underutilized, but you will have a safe forming design that's going to actually support the work and actually be cohesive across the bridge deck. One thing about bridge deck forming, a lot of times it's easier to go in and make it shorter spacing as long as it would match up with the exterior. Try to keep everything uniform across the bridge deck. So that's probably one of the components that we haven't gotten into, which we will next week, on how to conform to your fascia exterior to your interior spacing.
I can't wait.
Next week we're going to take all this product. We've given you 3 weeks of different strategies going through different parts of the deck to go forward. And next week's is kind of the culmination of all of it and what does it develop. So And what it is we will come through with a bridge deck forming hand sheet to show you how to actually fill it out, get it sent in. And where that information, we're gonna show you the actual printout sheet from a bridge job that we can actually have up on screen. We'll show you how to read the calculation sheet, how to actually mimic what, because we will actually make recommendations on here, what hanger to use for your project. So this deck sheet, this bridge deck information sheet is readily available. If you need a copy of it, get a hold of your Dayton Superior representative or contact training@DaytonSuperior.com. We can actually email it over to you. You can fill it out, send it off to your salespeople, and your salespeople can get the engineering calculated out for you. With that being said, that is the interior part of this training here. If you do have any questions, apologize earlier for any of the disturbances that we had. We'll get that, unfortunately, when we're dealing with live.
Yeah, it's the fun of live.
It's you know, it's a lot like live theater. You never know what to expect.
And that's okay, and I think we covered it. Thanks, guys, for letting me know that you couldn't hear and that you could hear. Are there any questions for Chuck? Yeah, Eugene, it is funny, isn't it? So I'm seeing a lot of people that have come in the past. I want to give a big thank you for always coming and joining. I hope that you find these insightful. If you ever want a topic that we haven't advertised yet or isn't on our Training Tuesday YouTube channel, as well as DaytonSuperior.com, let us know. You can always reach out at training@DaytonSuperior.com. That goes to Chuck and myself, not into a black hole inbox. So we will get back to you. If you want to customize training, if your company needs something, these are teasers. We've kind of put these together to build upon them, but yet not make it to where you had to watch all of them, to understand like this one. But we can do that for you if it's needed to get a little bit further along for training. So let's give you a second more to type in a question. I already told you that it was recorded. If you want to sign up for the next Training Tuesday or listen to any of the ones in the past, just search on DaytonSuperior.com. Just plug in Training Tuesday. You will find two links coming back to you. One is to register and the other is to review all the other videos. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. So I will let you go for this fine Tuesday, and I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and we'll see you next week.
And everybody take care. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.